Welcome back to the next video in the manual swap series. So just finished taking the auto out last video, and this video I will be doing some interior stuff. So the pedals, there's a little bit of a cut that I have to do where the shifter comes up out of the tunnel. I have to relocate a couple of wires and a boost line, which I currently have running through where the master cylinder goes through. And then I will be doing the rear main seal and the engine mounts, and maybe getting a start on the bell housing and the clutch. So that's going to happen over the course of this week. This is a working week, so it'll have to be after I get home from work, which means I only have about an hour or so each day before I lose the sun. So today I'm just going to be doing some of the interior stuff. So let's get to it. So with the seat now removed, it's a bit dirty in here, but I can remove the brake pedal and the center console area. So I don't know if I need to take this whole piece out. I'm hoping I can just take this shifter out and this surround piece out, and that should give me enough room to make the cuts, but I may need to also remove this section here. We'll see how we go. And that is the auto shifter assembly removed. So I need to cut let me just get the camera at a better angle. Basically the actual shifter is going to come up somewhere around here, so I have to cut like this little section around here, which shouldn't be too bad. It looks easier to access than in the Supra, so that's pretty good. Okay, so got all of this out, removed the head unit, and pretty much removed a lot of the wiring out of the way so I can get it all out of the way, because we're going to be cutting right here with an angle grinder. So that's probably going to happen on the weekend. I'm just going to take the manual pedal out now and have a look at rerouting this boost line and also this fog light wiring, which runs back through that master cylinder hole. So I'll see if I can drill another hole and run them elsewhere. Okay, so you can see it's a little hard to show you under here because I'm just by myself trying to get under the dash, but there's a spring connected to the brake pedal, and there's a pin going through the pedal, and further back there the pedal is actually bolted into the assembly. So I'm just going to remove the spring, the pin and the bolt, and that should just drop out. Now I also have a box there, a black box there. I'm not actually sure what that is, but that's probably going to get in the way of where the clutch pedal is, so that's going to have to be relocated somewhere else. So unfortunately, because I'm kind of working on my back upside down here, I can't really film at the same time. So this might be one of those instances where I say this is what I'm going to do, and then I'll just get it done. Wow, that was really difficult, but I got it out. One of the problems was this bolt here was actually in this way, but there was like some sort of computer ECU control unit sitting like right there next to the bolt, so you couldn't actually get it out because it just hit that. So to get that control unit out, there was a bolt like way back in there which you could turn maybe like an eighth turn at a time. So that took a long time. My fingers are all cramped up from like fiddling around in there, but got this out, got the pedal out. Losing light, so that's probably all that's going to happen today. Tomorrow I'll reroute those wires, drill some holes, and maybe hopefully get the clutch pedal installed. Okay, so it's a new day. It's kind of on and off raining. Like, I don't know if you can see how grey the clouds are. So I'm going to try and work kind of in the garage, but obviously a lot less space. Okay, so I didn't bother filming under the dash because it's obviously pretty hard to film and drill at the same time, but You can see how I've drilled these holes. I did a pilot hole of 4mm from underneath the dash, and then I came back through, and there's enough space here that I could go through here. Unfortunately, I'm a little bit off, particularly on that bottom one. You can see I'm a little close to the actual hole there. So I'm just going to go back through with a slightly bigger drill bit, because I only need like 1 or 2 more mils, and we should be able to clear that with the billet adapter. And just like that, fits in there nicely. Still got clearance on the hole on the inside, so I'm just going to kind of test fit with the master cylinder and put it all together to make sure it all kind of works. Okay, so what I'm going to be trying to do now, you can see the holes there for the master cylinder to come through, but there's a lot of that insulation around the like all up around here. It's just going to get in the way of where the pedal is, so I'm going to cut a fairly large chunk of that out. And to do that, I'm going to try it with a Dremel and a little cutting tool and see how easy it is. Okay, so quick update. I've got the clutch pedal very loosely installed, so there's one bolt right up the top, and then there's 2 that go and connect it to the master cylinder. The one right up top is very difficult to get started, so definitely recommend doing that one first. I can't really show it, I don't think. Yeah, that one was really tricky to get started, but I've got that one done, so it should be easier to get the master cylinder bolts through and done up now. Okay, clutch pedal is installed, and believe me when I say that was possibly the worst experience I've had to work on this car before. That was so cramped up in there trying to get those bolts in. The top one especially, because you can't even get a socket on it, so you're working with a ratchet spanner which kept falling off because you can't actually see what you're doing. But it's in, it works. There's a little bit of movement, but I think that's actually the pedal assembly flexing itself because all the bolts are tight now. So anyway, that's that, and I'll try and install the brake pedal and then sort out what I'm doing with all of this wiring and stuff. And that is that. 3 pedals installed. The accelerator seems a little far to the right and the brake pedal seems a little far to the left, but I don't know if that's how it's meant to be or not, but that's how it's going to be. So that's pretty much the end of the interior stuff. I mean, I'll still have to cut this hole here, like extend this out probably to this line up here, cut that out and then put it all back together. But the pedals, that's done for now. Okay, so it's another evening after work, so got the car jacked up here out on the driveway. What I want to get into is figuring out how I want to cut this, whether I want to use an angle grinder and risk catching my whole interior on fire, or if I want to try something else, and tidying up all of this cabling and stuff here under the dash. Okay, so I've tidied up the cables up under here, so it's much neater than before. So I'm just getting working on removing this little band of tar sound deadening across the strip. I know it'll come out, some of it will come out when I cut it, but I just thought I'll give a go cleaning up these little side bits here and get rid of that stuff there. So we've got all the towels down. I'm going to try with the Dremel first to see if we can cut through. I just marked out the outline there. There you go.
One hole.
Not too bad.
I'm impressed with that little Dremel. I didn't think
worn the blade down quite a bit.
Yeah, I actually didn't think it had the guts to do that.
Okay, so that's it installed. Only 3 bolts, 1, 2, 3. The 4th bolt we had to cut through on this side here. But otherwise, 3 bolts, like that's pretty sturdy. So went a little bit aggressive on the cut on this end here. Otherwise, I'm going to stick a flexor from the underneath, and that will be it for today. Okay, so it's the start of the weekend. Hopefully I should have 2 full days working on this car, and a couple of my mates may or may not drop in. They're a little busy, so we'll see how that goes. But Dad should be around here to help me because I may need some help doing some of the stuff. Basically, I might do a little recap of what's happened during the week, because doing those little kind of 1-hour sessions after work, you kind of forget to film things, so apologies if the clips are kind of all over the place. So I'll go through and show you exactly what's happened in the last week. Okay, so first things first, I drilled a couple of holes and I have fitted the Willwood master cylinder there onto the aluminium, billet aluminium adapter, and that goes through the firewall. On the inside of the car, I've removed all the interior bits, installed the clutch pedal, installed the manual brake pedal. Not sure why this throttle pedal is so far over, and like it's not even. I don't know if this brake pedal is meant to be a little bit further over, or if that clutch pedal is meant to be a bit further over. I'm not entirely sure why it's like that, but probably not the end of the world. There's still a decent amount of space between there. I do need to adjust the stop for the brake so that it's a little more in line, because it's a bit far forward at the moment. I've tidied up all the wiring up under here so that it's out of the way, doesn't interfere with the pedal. Or that does come a little close there, but that's fine. I have cut the hole required for the tunnel, bolted in the cover plate and sealed it up with Sikaflex, so that's now sealed. So there's a little hole on the top here for the shifter to come up through, but apart from that, the cabin is sealed from the trans below, as you don't want exhaust gases and stuff coming in, so that's definitely a good thing. Back in the engine bay, the boost line that did run over the engine and went through the original master cylinder hole that was pre-cut, as well as the fog light cabling. I had to remove those obviously because the master cylinder was going in, and I thought it's easier for me to go in through this way and run across the car inside the car than running across the engine bay where things are hot and stuff like that. So I found a little space down here. Let's see if I can zoom in on this. Okay, so down there I drilled a little hole from the inside. This is up where the ECU lives, and I fitted a little rubber grommet and fed those two in through there. And then from inside the car, got the boost line just sitting here loose, and I've already routed the fog light wiring up through in past here, and I've already plugged it back in. So the fog lights are all wired up. I just have to run this over somewhere over here to where the boost gauge lives. So that's pretty much what's happened in the last week. Today I'd like to do the remain seal. I'd like to do the engine mounts, and depending on how that goes, there's only 4 bolts for both engine mounts, so 2 each, but they're kind of tricky to get to and they may be kind of seized. So I've sprayed them with some WD to loosen them up, but we'll see how we go. If that happens relatively easily, then I'll get started on the next part of the manual swap, which is the flywheel, the clutch and the bell housing. I also bought another garage creeper because that one has been so useful and so handy to have. Certainly if you've got a flat floor and you're working on jack stands, get one of those because it's a lifesaver. I thought I'd grab another one so that when my friends come over to help, or if me and Dad's working on the car, we both have one, and it's so much easier. Okay, so in on this side, you can see the oil filter there in white. The top bolt for this engine mount is directly under there. So the easiest way to access it is going to be remove that oil filter, and that way we should be able to get in straight from the top of the engine here and down in to that bolt. On this side, it might be a little tricky to see in there. You can see the motor mount there and the bolt on top, so we can reach it. I might just need to remove this air pipe here and put a swivel attachment on the ratchet. Where's the crazy? Yeah. What's going on?
Not much. Same old.
Okay, so I got the driver's side top and bottoms out. The top one was really tight all the way to the top of the thread, which is kind of annoying, but those are out. Bottom on the passenger side's out. Just got to do the top now, but that's probably the most difficult to access. Hello, sir.
Hey, ni hao.
You won't be able to park here.
Okay.
FYI, Mum's
How
out.
did you get here?
Huh?
How did you get here?
His car's down there.
My car's down there.
What? The
The I-30. It's my car.
what? He's so confused.
I'll turn around actually. How's that? Before more. Bit back a little bit. Forward a tiny. Yeah. Oh. Oh, there's a clip there, yeah.
No, that's alright.
I'll just squash
that. Oh, so you can just squash it.
Yeah, easy. Worst case scenario, even if they break, you can just run a loop here. Factory, there's a little loop here. So this is aftermarket.
Oh, okay.
Right.
You ready?
Yep.
Just watch that back hose.
Right, so the dump pipe's starting to hit the frame, but it's got a bit of flex in it, so you can probably go a little bit more.
Do like half. Yeah, it should be enough.
The whole mount is just sheared into two. That is bad.
Yeah, that's fucked.
So there was literally nothing holding the engine to the chassis.
That's so bad. The thing is, you won't notice it unless you've driven it with it normally.
Because I just assumed that the amount of flex and vibration.
Yeah, it's just normal.
Oh.
Probably feel tighter now.
Just start these. Okay. This one looks not as bad.
Yeah, that one looks.
I mean, at least it's
sturdy.
complete.
It's in two pieces. You know what's funny? I actually thought this one was worse because I could see the split. And I was like, oh, that one looks not too bad. But
It's dropped a little bit already.
yeah. I'm watching it. Yeah.
Again.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Those dimples going in?
Yep, the bottom ones went in, which means you would
That's
assume
it.
the top ones would.
Nice. That was pretty easy.
It was pretty easy. I wrote off a whole day for this. Surely that's tight enough. That was pretty tight.
Now maybe do one more. I mean, you don't want this to come off, eh? There you go. Nice, nice. Oof.
That's pretty good. What's the time?
12:30.
It's pretty good.
You set a whole day for this.
Yeah. So
Very nice.
reman seal and then clutch.
Yeah.
So that was the one that was in there. That's the new one we're putting in. So all the rubber you can see is all gone from
Nah, it looks brand new, mate.
wear and stuff, which is why it was leaking.
She's brand new, mate. What are you talking about? Does it have to go all the way in?
No, this one's some flash. Fuck.
Clutch and flywheel is after that, isn't it?
Yeah, so yeah,
Yeah.
flywheel, clutch. Nah, it's flywheel then clutch, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, flywheel, clutch,
Clutch.
bell housing,
And then transmission.
and then transmission goes in. help a bit.
Is it going in?
Yeah, it's going in. I think that's pretty good there. I reckon. So it goes on.
Billet steel from Tilton. Made in the USA. Made in the USA.
America!
Sorry.
Fuck yeah.
Sorry, JDM boys. I meant to go in easy.
Yeah, they should go in easy. That went in fucking way easy with a bit of lube.
Oh, did you fart, Rocco?
Maybe.
Oh, I knew it. Jesus. Just got a
What do you
gust.
mean?
Just got a gust
I literally
of it.
farted and then you're like, oh, you fart? Didn't even get time to come in and bum.
I just got a massive gust of it.
Well, as long as it's blowing towards you and not Ben, it's all
Oh, God.
I had enough of that from the party kit today.
good.
So, Tilton ST246, made in the US of A. Twin disc, full organic face, sprung discs. So this one can hold, I think it's 700 or 800 foot-pounds, which on a 1J setup is about, I think 1100 horsepower, 1000 horsepower, something crazy, more than I'll ever use. But everyone who uses them says they feel like a stock clutch, and they have really nice engagement, which is exactly what I want. Nice and easy. So one of the tips that he gives as you're doing up the bolts, give this a wiggle and make sure it's nice and smooth, because you don't want to get to the end, have it all torqued up, and then find you can't actually pull this out because it's jammed. And then you have to undo it. So that's time. That is it.
Oh, sheesh. Oh my god. Oh my god, stop.
Thanks, Daddy.
So you should be able to slip the end of that alignment tool into that pilot bearing, and that should hold the weight. I can't really help you from here, I'm sorry.
That's right.
Is it in? Okay, so we're putting the clutch in now, and this is what, our third or fourth attempt or something, because we had the issue with this alignment tool was getting jammed. So we realized we needed to press like up on this as we were doing up these bolts, and we just used a dac until the bolts pulled it in enough that the clutches were pressing against the pressure plate and basically getting jammed in. So once we did that, the load is off these clutch plates, and now this moves in nice and freely, whereas before it would get tighter and tighter and tighter, and then it would jam and we'd have to take the whole clutch back out again. So that's a tip that Joel Granis hasn't said in his videos, but definitely as you're doing this up, press up on this alignment tool. Okay, so the clutch is in. The alignment tool did start getting a little tight towards the end, but it was still easily removable. One thing that or a tip that I did was, once you start tightening the bolts up enough that the pressure plate is now pressing against the clutch plates, at that point, after I did a full loop of tightening, I would pull the spline all the way out and then put it all the way back in. That helped keep it pretty loose, and pulling it out at the end was certainly not a problem. Okay, so the last thing that I want to do today is fit the bell housing, so that tomorrow we just have to do the throwout bearing, and then the gearbox can go in. So the way we're going to do that is just with a block of wood. I'll show you from underneath, it's probably better. Block of wood on the crank pulley, and just leaning the motor back as much as we can go. The weight's still on the motor mount, so that's still okay. And then we should have enough access with the motor lean back to fit the bell housing on there and do up the bolts. So it's the end of the first day of the weekend and we've got way more done today than I even thought we were going to do. I thought we were just going to do the engine mounts today, but we ended up doing those, the rear main seal, the clutch, and now the bell housing's done. So literally all I have to do tomorrow is the throw-out bearing, install that onto the gearbox. There's a little bit of measurement and hassle doing that, but that shouldn't be too hard. And then see if the boys can come back over and help actually manhandle the gearbox and actually put it in and bolt it up to the chassis with the mount. So I'll just show you the bell housing now. So you can see it up there, aluminium bell. Like Grannis says in the videos, he doesn't use torque specs for those bolts, and I didn't really either. I guess I did one up to about 50 foot-pounds, sorry, 50 newton meters, and then I did the rest kind of similar. So they're all pretty tight. I don't think there's going to be an issue there. The starter's all installed and ready to go, so that's all good. So that's pretty much it for today. I'll see you guys tomorrow for hopefully the last step in this video, which will be fitting the manual gearbox into the car.